Vibrio interaction. Vibrio gram-negative oxidase positive short rigid curved rods that are actively motile by a polar flagella. The most important member of the genus is Vibrio cholera. It is a causative agent of cholera. Vibrio cholera morphology. Vibrio cholera is a gram-negative curved or comma-shaped rod, non-sporing, non-capsulated, about 1.5 micrometer into 0.2 to 0.4 micrometer in size. The organism is very actively motile with a single polar flagella, and the movement is named as a darting motility. Culture. Vibrio cholera is strongly aerobic growth, being scanty and slow anaerobically. It grows best in alkaline medium. The optimum pH being 8.2. The optimum temperature for growth is 37 degrees centigrade. Ordinary medium. Nutrient agar. The colonies are moist, translucent, round disc 1 to 2 millimeter diameter with a bluish tinge in transmittent light. Meconic agar. The colonies are colorless or pale at first, but becomes reddish or pink on prolonged incubation due to the late fermentation of lactose. Blood agar. The Vibrio cholera classic biotype does not produce hemolytic, although colonies of E1 tor biotype produces hemolysis peptone water. It grows as a surface pellicle because of its aerobic nature. Special medium transport or holding media. Venkatram Ramakrishnan VR medium. It contains 20 grams common salt and 5 grams peptone in 1 liter of distilled water, and pH is adjusted to 8.6 to 8.8. Vibrio do not multiply but remains viable for several weeks. Carry Blair media. This media is prepared by adding disodium phosphate, sodium thioglycolate, sodium chloride, and calcium chloride, and pH is adjusted to 8.4. If transport media is not available, a strip of thick blotted paper is soaked in the fecal matter, then placed in a sealed plastic bag and sent to the laboratory. Enrichment media. Alkaline peptone water. It is a peptone water at pH 8.6. Beside enrichment media, it is also an excellent transport media. Monsoor taurocolate tellurite peptone water. Alike alkaline peptone water, it is not only a good enrichment, but it supports the medium as well as a plating medium. Alkaline bile salt agar BSA, pH 8.2. It is modified nutrient agar containing 0.5 sodium taurocolate bile salt. The colonies are dissimilar to those on nutrient agar. Monsoor gelatin taurocolate, tripticase tellurate agar. The colonies are small, translucent with a gray-black center and a turbid halo around the colonies due to the hydrolysis of gelatin. Thiosulfate citrate bile sucrose. It is the most widely used selective media for isolation of Vibrios. It contains sodium thiosulfate, sodium citrate, bile salt, sucrose, bromo thymol blue, yeast extract, peptone, sodium chloride, ferric citrate, and water. The Vibrio cholera forms yellow colonies due to the sucrose fermentation, while non-sucrose ferments such as Vibrio parahemolyticus produces green colonies. Biochemical reactions. The carbohydrate breakdown is fermentative, produced acid but no gas. Important diagnostic biochemical test of classical biotype are summarized as below. Catalase positive, oxidase positive, glucose acid, lactose negative, mannitol positive, sucrose positive, maltose positive, mannose positive, indole positive, nitrogen dioxide reduction positive, urease negative, gelatin positive, MR negative, VP negative, lysine positive, arginine positive, sheep RBC hemolysis negative. With the Vibrio cholera, the carbohydrate breakdown is fermentative, producing acid but no gases. Important diagnostic biochemical test of classical biotype are summarized as follows. The Vibrio cholera is indole positive and reduces nitrate to nitrate. These two properties contributes to the cholera red reactions. The red pink color is developed due to the formation of nitroso-indole in these reactions. Antigenic structure. Vibrio cholera containing somatic O and flagellum H antigen. The H antigen is shared by all these strains. The Gardner and Venkatraman classified Vibrio based on the antigenic structure. At least 139 O serotypes are recognized. The serogroup O220138 are called non-01 Vibrio cholera on the basis of minor O antigen A, B, C. Vibrio cholera 01 are subdivided into three serotypes: Okawa AB, Inaba AC and Hichkojima ABC toxins. Besides heat stable endotoxin, the Vibrio also produces a exotoxin, enterotoxin. The enterotoxin is also named as a cholera toxin. The choleragen or cholera enterotoxin. Both Vibrio cholera 01 and 0139 produces cholera toxin. Vibrio is referring to group A, cholera, Vibrio biochemically similar common H antigen, Vibrio cholera, and group B biochemically and antigenically heterogeneous. The group A is divided into group 01 and non-01 to O138. About the zero group O1 is divided into classical cholera vibrio and EL tor vibrios. The classical cholera vibrio is divided into Ogawa, Inaba, Hichkojima, and EL tor vibrio is divided into Ogawa, Inaba, Hichkojima. Antigen classification of Vibrio. The enterotoxin, it is a heat label protein in nature. It has a molecular weight of 90,000. It has two fractions, one A active subunit and 5 B binding subunit. The cholera toxin resembles heat label toxin of E. coli chemically, antigenically, and in its mode of action. The cholera toxin is more potent than label toxin of E. coli. Mechanism of action: the B subunit binds specifically to the GM1 ganglioside receptors on the intestinal epithelial cells. The active A subunit then enters the cell and it cleaves it to its fragment A1 and A2. The A2 fragments links the active A1 to the B subunit, and thus the A1 fragment stimulates the adenyl cyclase activity of epithelial cells. This in turn converts ATP into CAMP. The cyclic AMP concentration within the cell causes hypersecretion of water electrolytes within the intestinal lumen and inhibition of reabsorption of sodium and chloride by cells, which results in purging diarrhea of rice water stool. The fluid secretion is isotonic with the plasma but contains more of potassium and bicarbonate. EL tor vibrios, the antigenically even tor vibrios is identical to classical cholera vibrio, and it is now proved to be biotype of vibrio cholera 01. The differentiating features of classical and even tor vibrios are shown in the figure. The differentiating features of a classical and even tor vibrios. Test hemolysis of sheep erythrocyte, classical negative, even tor positive. Agglutination of chick erythrocyte, classical negative, even tor positive. VP, classical negative, even positive. Polymyxin B sensitivity, classical positive, even negative. Susceptibility of Mukherjee Foj 4, classical positive, E1 tor negative. Modified CAMP test, classical negative, E1 tor positive. Non-agglutinating vibrio, non O1 vibrio cholera. The somatic antigen 0101 is specific to the classical and even tor biotype of vibrio cholera, while vibrio containing antigen other than 01 and 0139 are called non-agglutinating and or non-cholera vibrios or non-O1 vibrio cholera. There are 139 serotype containing O antigen 01 to 0139. The zero group 01 and 0139 containing Vibrio, while 02 to 0138 are NAG Vibrios. It is extremely difficult to distinguish most of the NAG Vibrios from Vibrio cholera by means of culture and biochemical reactions. They are non-agglutinable by 01 antiserum, therefore named as a non-agglutinable NAG Vibrio. However, they are readily agglutinable by their homologous antiserum. Vibrio cholera O139. Vibrio cholera zero group O139 originate in Madras, India in 1992 and has led to a widespread occurrence of cholera cases throughout India and Bangladesh. Vibrio cholera strains of serotype O1 and 0 group O139 causes classical cholera. Vibrio cholera O139 is very similar to Eltor biotype of Vibrio cholera. It makes a polysaccharide capsules like other non-O1 Vibrio cholera strain, while Vibrio cholera O1 does not make a capsule. Forge typing. The classical strain of Vibrio cholera are classified into five types 1 to 5 by using Mukherjee Forge 1 to 4. Even Tor strain can be divided into six types 1 to 6 on the basis of lysis by 5 Forges 1 to 5. This is Vibrio cholera. Both 01 and O139 causes an acute diarrheal disease known as a cholera. The human infection occurs by ingestion of contaminated food and drink. Both of the biotype of Vibrio cholera O1 produces a equally severe DV diseases, but in even tall strains, the incidence of mild and asymptomatic infections is more frequent. The NAC vibrios may produce a clinical disease indistinguishable from cholera. Epidemiology. Cholera is an epidemic disease, and man is only natural host of Vibrio cholera. Between 1817 and 1923, cholera spread to all over the world in six pandemics. All these pandemics were caused by the classical biotype of a Vibrio cholera. The recent pandemic, the seventh occurrence in 1961, and this pandemic had been caused by the E1 tor biotype. The E1 tor Vibrio leads to mild cases, higher incidence of carriers, and greater chance of endemicity as compared to classical Vibrio. The epidemic cholera has a seasonal distribution. The epidemic seasons are different in different areas. In India, the epidemic season is in the hot, dry month of March to May and ends with the onset of monsoon in June. The epidemic cholera has been associated with a fairs festival during which the sanitary condition tends to be unsatisfactory. The only natural resource in man is the form of convalescent and chronic carriers. The laboratory diagnosis, specimen, watery stool, and rectal swab. The collection and transport. The specimen should be collected preferably prior to start of antibiotic. These should not be collected from the bedpan due to risk of contamination. The specimen should be immediately transported to the laboratory. In case of delay, stool samples may be preserved in holding metals such as a VR fluid or carry bare medium for long period. If the specimen can reach the laboratory in few hours, the enrichment medium such as alkaline peptone water or monsoon medium may used as a transport medium. When transport medium are not available, strips of blotted paper may be soaked in the water stool and sent to the laboratory after proper packing in plastic envelope. In direct microscope, it is not method for rapid diagnosis. The characteristic darting motility of Vibrio and its inhibition by adding antiserum can be demonstrated under the dark field or phase contrast microscope using the cholera stool culture. The stool sample is directly cultured on following media: selective media, BSA, TCBS, and Monsoor GTTA. Selective, non-selective media, blood agar and mechanical agar. These plates are incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for overnight. Enrichment media, or APW, alkaline peptone water, or Monsoor liquid medium. These media are incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 68 hours before subculturing on selective media. When the specimen has been collected in holding media, it is first inoculated into enrichment media and incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 6 to 8 hours before plating onto a selective media. The specimen collected in enrichment media should be incubated for 68 hours, including transit time before subculturing onto a selective media. Colony morphology and staining. The culture media are examined for typical colonies of Vibrio cholera. On mechanical agar, the colonies are pale, and monsoon medium, the colonies has a black center with a turbid halo around the colonies. The TCBS shows yellow colonies, and on BSA, translucent colonies are present. The gram staining from colony shows a typical gram negative comma-shaped bacilli. They shows a darting motility on hanging drop preparation. Biochemical reaction. Refer biochemical reaction described earlier. Agglutination test. Confirmation is done by agglutination using a specific antiserum treatment. Oral rehydration therapy prophylaxis. General measure: purification of water supply, a better provision of sewage disposal. Infected patients should be isolated, their excreta infected. Contact and carriers or follow-up. Specific measure: active immunization, killed parental vaccine. This vaccine contains a 12,000 million Vibrio cholera per ml, composed of equal number of Inaba and Agawa strain. 2 injections are given intramuscularly at an interval of 4 weeks. The duration of protection is only 3 to 6 months. Killed oral vaccine. B subunit whole cells vaccine has undergo a field trial in Bangladesh. Live oral vaccine. The recombinant DNA vaccine with the expression of Vibrio cholera in attitude strain TY21A of Salmonella type has been developed. The chemoprophylaxis in endemic area. The chemoprophylaxis with antimicrobial drugs is useful for attendant nurses. Halophilic vibrios. The halophilic vibrios cannot grow in media lacking sodium chloride. They grow best in presence of sodium chloride. Their natural habitat is seawater and marine life. Some halophilic vibrios which causes human disease are Vibrio parahemolyticus, Vibrio alginolyticus, Vibrio fulnificus, Vibrio parahemolyticus causes food poisoning associated with marine food. All strains of Vibrio parahemolyticus are not pathogenic for man. The strains are isolated from the environmental source are nearly always non-hemolytic when grow on a high salt blood agar Vagat agar, while the strain isolated from the human cases are almost always hemolytic. This is called as a Kanagawa phenomenon. Eromonas and Plesiomonas, they are gram-negative motile bacilli which are oxidase positive. The medically important species includes Eromonas hydrophilia and Plesiomonas sigilloides.